Oh, hi. I'm Jen, and welcome to my studio. And today I wanted to do, I guess it's like a technique exercise, or maybe it's a step tutorial. I'm not actually sure. I wanted to talk about terminology on a very specific step. So I've been posting videos on TikTok and Instagram and all kinds of stuff. And there's one particular step that, my goodness, it gets people so heated whenever they see me call it the wrong thing. Now, I use quotations on the wrong thing because, especially on this channel and in my classroom, there's no such thing as the wrong name of a tap step. Tap dance is an orally passed down tradition art form, right? I don't know how I just said that, but I hope you understand what I mean. It's an oral tradition, so a lot of times you'll get the name of a step told to you from one person, and it's a different name from another person because their backgrounds are different. They learned from different people. They learn in different parts of the world. That right there is very, very important to notate, is that they learn in different parts of the world. So names are going to vary, but the step is basically the same. So I learned recently from some nice and some not so nice comments on my TikTok and Instagram that I call a flap, but other people call it something completely different. Now, I'm going to say, if you ever want to tell me on social media or here on YouTube that you call a step by a different name, I want to hear that. I am dying to know what everyone calls these steps. I think it's so much fun to learn about like the name differences and like the language variations and stuff when it comes to tap dance. I think it's so cool. Here's a great example. I have always called this a step. That has always been a step since I was a little girl. It was step, heel, step, heel. That's what we called it. And I always called this, I use my little 3-year-old arms, yay, a dig. That is a dig. That is what I learned. Then I meet my teacher, like 20-something years ago. Cannot believe it's been that long. I meet my teacher, and he calls this a dig, and this a heel. And I was so confused in class, but once I learned, watch the step, translate as you go, you're fine. You know, we're doing the same steps. We're speaking the same language musically. We don't need to speak the same language verbally in a tap class. And that's also really important to note because if you ever like take a class from someone who doesn't speak English very well because they're from somewhere else in the world, again, you're still speaking the same musical language. It's okay if there's a language barrier verbally because you speak the same musical language here, which I love. I absolutely love that. So anyway, he calls it those things. Then a few years later, I assist for him in his classes. And I have to verbally change what I call these things to what he calls it so that there's consistency in the assisting. So he's going, all right, dig heel, dig heel, dig heel. And I'm over here going, that's not a step heel, it's not a step heel, it's a dig heel, it's a dig heel. Trying to like make sure that I say, okay, because he'll be like, all right, now Jen, lead this group, I'll lead this group. I'm like, cool. So everyone, it's dig heel, and I have to change my wording, even though that's not how I learned it. But I'm completely respectful of how he learned it and what he is passing on. So it's the same step, he just called it something different. Was it difficult for me to translate like in the moment? Yeah, it was, I'm not gonna lie. But it's important that we do that because we need to respect each other's backgrounds and how we learn and where we learn from because we need to respect the oral tradition of this dance art form. So the step that has people heated is a flap. Now, I grew up in a combination of New Jersey and South Florida, so like kind of New York style and still New York style, very, very New York style, but specific like people taught me. And I also got some LA style and I got some Australia style. So there was a lot going on in the terminology. But from what I learned, this is a flap, brush step, no heels on the floor. No heels whatsoever. I have learned in America it is extremely common for a flap to be brush step with no heels on the floor. And I know that this is an American thing because American dance competitions, every judge dock in points for those heels close to the floor. I've judged before, I've heard judges' comments from tons of different judges from around the world, around the country mostly, and this is one big thing. Make sure you keep your heels up on those flaps. That's something that they say all the time. So it's a very American thing for a flap to be brush, step, or brush, toe. So that is what I'm calling a flap. I'm not wrong. However, the people coming onto my social media and saying, that's not a flap, that is a, and then proceeds to tell me what they call it, they're not wrong either. I'm not wrong, they're not wrong. And I'm really excited to learn what they're about to teach me. So apparently, in the UK, I think I wrote this down. In the UK, a flap is a brush and then a flat foot. I'm having trouble not hitting one part at a time. I'm pretty sure that that's it. If I'm doing it wrong, please somebody come onto this channel and very, very nicely tell me that I'm doing it wrong. I think it's brush flat, brush flat, brush flat. That will get you so many points off at an North American dance competition. However, that is a flap in the UK. I don't even know if that's a step where I'm from. But it's actually like a distinction between a flap and what they call a tap step. They have a distinction in the UK, which this is the coolest thing to me. They have a distinction between 3 different ways to do a flap, but they call it different things. So a flap is a brush flat foot. I think I'm doing that right. What they call a tap step is what I call a walking flap, or just a regular flap that doesn't have a run to it. So brush step, they call that a tap step, which kind of tells me that they call this a tap, not a brush, maybe? Somebody help me out. If you're from the UK, please tell me if I'm saying this correctly. This video is for me to share what I've been learning from all these people from all over the world on my social media, not necessarily for me to teach you anything other than we are all correct in what we call these things, and we need to be open-minded to learning new names for the same stuff we've been doing. So anyway, flap in the UK, flap in the US. Different, right? A flap in the US is a tap step in the UK. And if you run them, we call them running flaps. It has a spring to it. I'm using that word very, very specifically. In the US, a running flap, it has like a jump to it. It's called a tap spring in the UK. Now, I love this. I love this name. Tap spring. It's just so cute. So, tap spring. So, we have flap, tap step, tap spring versus one name for it in the US, which is just flap. And then you can either do them normal or just running flaps, but they're still called flaps. So the fact that there is such a distinction in name between 3 different ways of doing the same step, I love that. I absolutely love that. I will give you a little disclaimer though. Like I said, I love when people come onto my social media and they're like, oh, it's not called that where I'm from, it's called this. Oh yeah, I call it this. Please tell me those things. Please do not come onto my or any tap dancer or any dancer's social media and start with, you are absolutely wrong, that is not what that's called, that's a this. Or even worse, they drop some insults, like, I thought or something like, you think you're really good at tap, but obviously you don't know what this is called. I've gotten some really, really mean comments. And at the end of the day, I am so happy to learn that you call it something else, but I'm just gonna ask, and this isn't really for me, I have had to learn to have thick skin when you're on social media, but this is for other tap dancers, other dancers. Don't come at them with how dare you, or you're wrong if you're gonna tell them that you call it something different. Start with, oh, I didn't know that somebody would call it that. What we call it here is this. Or, oh, I've always called it that. And that way you start a conversation. You're not attacking the person and making them question their entire being. Because that happens every single time somebody's like, excuse me, but that's not. Or one of them it was so subtle, but it was, flap, you mean tap step. And that's all that they said. So they literally just came onto my video to correct me and then run away. It was like a drive-by correcting. Like, I appreciate that they wanted to tell me that they call it something different, but I was not wrong to call it a flap based on where I am in the world, who I have learned from, and the style that I do. They're not wrong to call it a tap step based on where they're from in the world, where they learned it from, and how they do it. But a conversation could have been had instead of just like a drive-by correcting, you know? So be kind, because we are all putting these videos out there for either for your education or your entertainment. And we're not asking for anything, we're just putting them out there. So like, be kind when you're gonna comment on people's videos. If I do make a mistake, oh my goodness, I make mistakes all the time. Like, everybody out there that's watching this video, raise your hand if you make mistakes daily. Like, seriously, daily. I think I did the around the clock shuffles, and I put shuffle times 6 and then a step, and clearly if you watch the video, it's 7. The number of people that went on my video and went, I think it's 7, not 6. And I'm like, and it's just like the way it was worded, or like, obviously it's 7. Somebody said that they were like, obviously it's 7. I deleted the mean comments. For the most part, they're not there anymore, because I don't need other people seeing negativity either. So if you're gonna be mean on my channel, I'm not gonna be mad at you or anything. I'm just gonna get rid of the negativity so that it stays a very, very positive space, because I want people of all ages and all backgrounds to be welcome on my channel. So, but it was the, obviously you mean 7. And I'm like, I commented back, I was like, yeah, definitely I meant 7. My bad, thanks for letting me know. And I will always thank you for pointing out a mistake that I make, because I don't watch my videos after I post them, to be honest. So somebody telling me, oh, by the way, I think you meant for it to have 7. That is so helpful to me. Please tell me that. But don't like, come on there and go, obviously you meant 7. I'm like, oh, thank you. Now I feel terrible about myself, and I feel bad that I made a mistake. So yeah, that's the point of this video, is for me to share that I learned like that there's different names for different things and how I learned that, but also it's turning into a slight PSA of like, be nice when you go online, which I'm sure everyone on YouTube, every comment I ever get is so sweet. So I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir right now, but like, if you can instill that into your students, if you're a dance teacher, that would be awesome. If you can tell them like, hey, when you want to watch a video online and you think that they might have done something wrong, here's a good way of handling that. Because as dancers, we do watch a lot of tutorials. We do watch a lot of like how-to videos and like cool combination videos. And so there are moments where your students are gonna go, that's not an aerial, that is a, insert whatever they would call an aerial there, or maybe they do like a handstand rollout, but they call it something else, like a collapsible handstand or something. And, you know, they're going to be like, that's not what that's called. Maybe instill into them that they could not approach it that way, that kind of thing. Because it really starts with us as dance teachers. Man, this video turned into a PSA. But what I was trying to say is flap, tap, step, and tap spring. But it really did turn into a PSA, I guess. But yeah, I'm learning so many cool things. I learned somebody calling, you remember crossing wings, or what I call échappé wings? My teacher called them échappé wings. Different teacher than the one I mentioned before. I've had a lot of teachers in my life. But they called them échappé wings. I call them échappé or crossing wings, and I found out this morning that somebody calls them butterfly wings. I love that. I think that that's so cool, and honestly, it really does look like a butterfly. So I think that's awesome. Anytime I post something, if you call a step something different, please, please tell me. I think it's so cool. Also, be nice, please. Because we are just people, we are just humans, and some of us are sensitive. And while I am developing thick skin because of social media, I am a sensitive, delicate little flower sometimes, and it does make me question my whole existence. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening and watching this tutorial, I guess. This turned into something I didn't mean for it to turn into, but it's still a very important message in my opinion, and I hope that you got something good out of it. So thank you so much for being here and watching this video and having this conversation with me today. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button and join the TAP fam. We have PSAs on this channel apparently, but we also have technique exercises, step tutorials, like you can learn the butterfly wing, the échappé wing, the crossing wing, whatever you want to call it, you can learn that in a video. I have an entire tutorial on how to do that. So if you saw that and you're like, yo, I want to learn that, that is in the step tutorial playlist, which I think is down below in the description. We also have choreography tutorials where I put those out every Saturday, where you can learn a combination to a song. And we have vlogs and challenges and all kinds of stuff on this channel. It's all free tap dance and it's all for you. So please subscribe to this channel. That is the single best way of supporting this channel. And the more subscribers I have, the longer I can do this. So get your students to subscribe, your friends, your family. Everything on this channel is safe and positive and like safe for students of all ages is basically what I'm saying. That's why I use a lot of instrumental covers now, because Taylor Swift swears now, so like if I can't trust T-Swizzle, then who can I trust? I say that to my students. They're like, play Taylor Swift. I'm like, I am not playing any of her music until I can screen it for swear words. Because that's just, you know, it's that day and age, I guess. So instrumental music on this channel, it's all safe, I promise. If I miss one, please in the comments let me know, like, hey, this song had a word in it that you should probably like out, and let me know, but be nice. That's the theme of this video is be nice. So, again, hit that subscribe button. Also hit that thumbs up button because this video has a nice message, but also because it tells YouTube that people like tap dance, and that doesn't just help my channel, it helps other channels as well that do tap dance. And we want YouTube to know that people love tap dance. So, subscribe, thumbs up, be nice, and thank you for dancing with me.